Hey guys, it's Allison here, and I am getting ready to do my layout for day number 22 of LOAD218. And one of the adventures today is to use your favorite thing that you've been hoarding. Get it out of your stash onto a layout. And so this paper I have been hoarding. And I have been holding on to it specifically for the album that I'm working on, which is our Harry Potter studio tour album. And I just love all the owls on it because that is such a huge part of the Harry Potter series. And I have not one but two pieces of this, which is quite fabulous. One I received from the Wild Hair Kit Club, and one I had purchased on my own. So I feel like since I have two of this, I need to make a double page layout with this in the background, which is kind of a busy background for a double page layout. But I have the perfect photos, I hope, for this. And I am going to use this to scrapbook photos from the Gryffindor tower, like their sort of home away from home. Okay, so I've got these 5 photos. I've also pulled out some other papers. So Gryffindor's colors are like red and gold. So I've pulled out 2 different red patterns. I've got the hearts from Shimelle's Go Now Go, and I've got this one, which is an older Echo Park paper by Alison Kreft from the Capture Life series. This is called Cityscape, and I have been holding it in my stash with this side up because I just really like it, but I've never figured out the perfect pictures to put on it. So you know what? It's just got to go in an album. This side is it's red, so that works, and it just says life is beautiful. So I think this needs to make it onto the album. And I've also got a neutral. I've got some wood grain because there's quite a bit of wood and stone and whatnot in the photos. And then I've got 2 different yellows. It's basically the same pattern. I mean, it's the same pattern. These are older Stampin' Up 12 by 12 like basics papers. And one is more sort of buttery yellow and one is a bit brighter. So I'm not really sure which one I'm going to use, but I have both options there. And then I also pulled out this from Starshine for this one, which says, always believe something wonderful is about to happen. And I might use that one too, or that. So there's some options there. Okay, so I am going to get started. I will cut off my branding strips and cut some blocks of these and see where it takes me. Hey guys, so while I'm putting this together, I just thought I would give you a few thoughts on how I typically put together a double page spread. I'm not sure how many of you make them on a regular basis. I don't typically, well, I kind of go through phases, I suppose, and right now I'm in a phase of making double page spreads. So they are coming a little bit easier to me. I don't find them easier per se than a single page layout. It's a different mindset, but there's definitely a few tricks and techniques that help you out. So my first preference is to have 2 of the same background papers, whether it is solid cardstock. Yesterday I used gray cardstock as my background, or like today where I have a patterned paper. But I do prefer to have 2 of the same papers in the background. I've made them before with 2 different papers, and it's fine. I quite like those layouts. It's a bit more challenging to me. So if in the case of Load, where I am not on a time crunch, but I'm definitely trying to fit in as much scrapping in a small amount of time as I possibly can. Removing any sort of obstacles to my creative process is a good thing. And having 2 different backgrounds would definitely be considered an obstacle. So my next step is to cut my papers in such a way that they will span the divide, but I'm not worried about them being symmetrical on either side of the divide. The wood grain down at the bottom, I typically have a paper that does go all the way across and matches on either side, so that wood grain has basically the same margins on the right and the left. And I'm really sorry that the left of this layout is cut off. I didn't realize that I had shifted everything over. Anyways, so I usually have one paper that does go from right to left symmetrically, but then the other two are asymmetrical across the divide. And in order to line everything up properly, I will stick it down on one side. If it's going across the divide, then I just pull my background paper over top of the paper that I've just stuck down and line up the other side first. And then I can trim off any extra bits if I need to. And then in the case of papers that are going across the divide, I will trim it off and then stick it down on the other side of the paper. Now this strip of hearts did give me a little bit of trouble because I thought I had cut them out so that I would have one that lined up. And as I was trying to put them together, I realized that that was not the case. And I actually think that the pattern on the paper is such that there are no sort of repeats. But as most of it is covered up by photographs, you probably will never know unless I just told you, which I just did. So now I'm getting my photos in place, and I realize that I've actually misaligned that row of hearts as well. So I'm not quite sure how that happened. That's the second time I've done that in the same amount of days. Misaligned papers across the divide. So my method is not perfect apparently, but it does work for me sort of 85 to 90% of the time quite well. So now I am placing those bits that I cut from that cut apart sheet, and I'm trying to find a pleasing arrangement. And I decide at that point that I am not going to overthink things. So I ink everything and stick them down, everything except that brilliant journaling card. I haven't quite decided if that's going to go in that empty space there in the middle, or if I'm going to put something else there and just journal on the yellow. So while I'm thinking about that, while my brain is churning all that through, I pull out my glittery wood grain thickers and get the title down. And I do need to use both sets to get everything because I've run out of ease on one set. So I am spelling out Home Away from Home. I contemplated bringing in a different font and decided in the end that I would just have it all in one. I kind of liked how they all line up and create this big block of title. And then I decide that I will use that journaling card and I'm going to glue it right next to my title. And then I went looking for some more embellishments, and I've pulled out the Starshine acetate, clear acetate stickers. So I've got a couple of those on there. I've got a couple of die cuts from Starshine as well. And then those sort of turquoise buttons are from Pink Paisley. And I found this paper clip that is in the shape of a book with a heart on it. And I thought that was kind of appropriate for the setting. So these are from Gryffindor's common room, and there's lots of books around, and it's kind of a cozy, it gives a kind of library feel to it with all the comfy couches and plaid and tapestries. And so I thought that that paper clip worked really well. Other things that I've pulled out are some self-adhesive brads from various Simple Stories collections. And I can't remember what else right now. So I've gotten my journaling in, and now I am looking to finish the embellishments. I added twine to all the buttons. It was a bit finicky, so I just kind of skipped over that, so you didn't get to see me do it. But I've just tied the twine through the buttons and tied it in a bow, and you'll see those in the close-ups. Now I'm adding some of these self-adhesive brads, trying to find ones in colors that work with the layout. And I've got this page of word strip, or like phrases, I guess, from an old Gossamer Blue kit. So I'm putting a few of those on the layout as well. A lot of them are good theme-wise, I guess, for the pictures. So now I've got some chipboard stars. These are an older Studio Calico set, and I've got some light blue ones and some yellow ones, and I think some pink ones as well. So I'm just scattering them around my various groupings. And I did have it's hard to tell, I think maybe in the video, but above the title there is a blue die cut key from the Little by Little collection, and I figured that was really good as sort of a symbol of home. You know, you use your key when you get into your home. So there we go. There is the finished layout with all its bits and pieces. I didn't end up adding any enamel dots or sprinkles, like gold mist sprinkles, to this. I sort of felt like the background was busy enough that with all the little chipboard stars and the buttons and the brads, well, they're not really brads, but you get the idea, that it was enough. So thank you so much, guys. I am having a lot of fun making these layouts for you. I hope that you're enjoying watching them. If you are, then please do give me a thumbs up, maybe leave a comment, let me know what you'd like to see from me in the future, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.